Hey guys, what's going on? Mike the Caveman Q here again, Paleo Problem Island, MikeTheCaveman.com. We have another edition, best Mike the Caveman hit, another edition of Monday Nights with Mike, Livestream Q&A. Let's try that again. And yeah, gone for a week. Weird. Took some time off. Went down to Northwest Arkansas, visit some family. Got to actually relax for a little bit and got some much needed R&R, spending time with the kids. And yeah, so that time off definitely recharged me, reset me, got me ready to rock, keep going what we've been doing. So Allison, what's up? And yeah, so you guys know the deal. Basically, answer questions, put them down in the comment box. I'm going to pull it up now on my phone, that way I can see. Just because there's some kind of delay, there's usually some lag on the time between the two. So, yeah. We're going to start putting your questions down there. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for your questions, I guess we'll talk a little bit what I've been doing, right? So, like I said, I was down in Arkansas visiting my niece and nephew. Got to have a lot of fun times down there. Got to do some science experiments. I had the Amazium, with what it's called. Got to go to the aquatic center, so I got some nice color going on, right? Bashed my head open on the pool, so that was cool. But also got to participate in a wing contest, and I crushed their Buffalo Wild Wings scorpion rum sauce. They weren't ready for me. Murray, what's up? How you doing? Yeah, so we'll start getting those questions going. Got to recharge. Yeah, so little thing on that. I posted the picture this morning, my Instagram post, and that came up on here as well about the importance of rest and relaxation. And the fact of the matter is, I always talk about it. I always yell at people that they should be doing it, and I don't take that advice myself very often. So, having actually done that and actually taking a chance to breathe, it was everything I needed. So, I'm ready to rock now, guys. Ozzy, what's up? How you doing? So, let's see. Murray asks, what can we do about high blood pressure? It's a great question. So, generally speaking, everybody's concerned about their sodium intake, their salt, how much they're taking in. Not really that big of a deal overall when it comes to high blood pressure. With the caveat that we are eating real food. Because the fact of the matter is, when you are eating real food, you're not taking in too much salt in and of itself. So, what you're going to want to do is make sure you're adding salt because you need it. That 2,300 milligrams a day, that is the RDI. That's the amount you're supposed to be taking in to survive. That's not the maximum amount that you should be taking in lower than. It's not right. That being said, let's say that you are taking in that 2,300. What else do you need? Well, you need to make sure you are in balance with potassium. Potassium is a bigger driver and more important overall when it comes to blood pressure. So, we've talked about that a bunch of times, but the best source of potassium is beet greens. Not the beet, but the green leaves on top of it. However, beets are a decent source of potassium as well. So, eat your whole beet. If you just want to eat the greens, because for whatever reason you don't do well with the sugariness of the beets, then just eat the greens. Saute them up in some coconut oil, in some skinny fat olive, and throw a little garlic in there. You have a great time. From there, things like avocados, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, and yes, bananas do in fact contain a good amount of potassium. They're just not the best. The reason why we always talk about them in terms of sources of potassium is simply the fact that people are willing to eat bananas. From there, the next most important thing you're going to want to do in terms of blood pressure is something like cayenne. So cayenne will help to regulate your blood pressure. Now, it's particularly good for people with low blood pressure because it will vasodilate. It will help to relax the blood pressure, relax the blood vessels, and it will help to vasodilate, so help to relax the blood vessels. I can't speak. I'm sorry. It will help to relax them, which will allow more blood to flow through, and at the same time, it's not going to inherently destroy it. It's going to basically help to regulate it, and none of that made sense, I don't think, but just cayenne. Just bear with me on this one. From there, yeah. Hey, Megan. I'll reset in a second. Megan, Vicky, Tori, what's up? How you doing? So basically, cayenne. From there, the garlic I mentioned before with the beet greens would be a good idea as well. Cayenne can help, garlic can help with circulation as well. From there, things like systemic enzymes, so fibrenza would be a great idea. That will help to regulate blood pressure. So that would be my go-to. I would say just reducing inflammation in general, but balancing your sodium potassium ratio, making sure you get in adequate amounts of potassium. From there, cayenne, garlic, and systemic enzymes. What can we do about MIG? Or MIG. I'm assuming that we're talking about migraines and not Russian airplanes, because I don't really know what we're going to do about the Russian airplanes. And yes, migraines, awesome. So, migraine, Val Kilmer took care of the MIGs. But migraines, what we can do about that. I have a whole video on that. I have another one on dedicated on headaches. The best thing I've seen so far is the CBD. So CBD works incredibly for pretty much all sets of headaches, whether it be migraines, tension headaches, etc. From there, something like the fire cream topically. So fire cream, I've seen amazing success with that. From there, after that, make sure if you're someone who's getting those migraines because of tyramine or histamines, make sure that you're aware of that and you are avoiding those foods. If it's due to a gut issue because you are producing too many histamines, focus on your gut. So focusing on your gut health would be a great idea. From there, adequate hydration, adequate amount of sleep, stress management. There's a lot of different things you could look at. I'll put a link to my migraine video or my headache video. I don't know if I have a dedicated migraine video. I don't know. Either way, I'll put links to that. I'll find it, and I'll put that in there. But essentially, CBD, adequate sleep and hydration, focus on your gut, avoid tyramines and histamines. That'll be your best bet. Bam. Next question. So, those of you joining us late, if you're here, what we had talked about so far, high blood pressure. We talked about migraines. We talked about Russian MIGs and what we can do about those, because I don't know. I'm just talked a little bit about my trip down to Northwest Arkansas, which if you've never been, I highly recommend it. It's a beautiful place. All right, what else we got, guys? If I'm waiting for you guys to put some more questions in, I'll go back to some other ones that I have to look into. So while I was throughout the course of the week while I was away, I got a whole bunch of questions that kind of backlogged because I just wasn't doing any last week. So I actually the thing about that was I had actually planned on recording some videos while I was away. I actually brought my GoPro, I brought my tripod, I brought everything, and I just ended not gonna do it. So Maddie's a regular here on the live stream. She comes in and asks awesome questions all the time. She had asked about something called Katy, Katy, and I looked into it briefly, but essentially it's a nootropic, and it's marketed towards the EDM crowd. Basically, oh, I can get you happy without the Molly. That's the basic idea on it. And so that seems like an interesting one. I might turn that into something at some point, but the short version of that, I've talked about nootropics before. If you're not familiar with them, nootropics are usually plant compounds, neurotransmitter precursors, so things that will work on serotonin, things that will work on dopamine, things that will work on your catecholamine, so your dopamine, your adrenaline, noradrenaline, things like that. So basically, your happy drugs. Now, there are actual smart drugs that are pharmaceutical derived, whereas the nootropic, the difference between the two is that nootropics are generally the precursors and or phytochemicals, so plants that will help do that. So things like Gotu Kola, Bacaba, CBD, things like so different amino acids. So 5-HTP is another one. Different mushrooms can be used sometimes. So essentially, it's the same concept. It's just marketed towards the EDM crowd. So rather than having people rolling on Molly, they roll on the Katy, which is just a nootropic. Whatever. Kim, what's up? So what else? My buddy Chris had sent a question about The Plant Paradox, which is a book, and he had sent me a food list. I promised him earlier I'd look into it. I'll have to do that at some point. But basically foods to deal with autoimmune. So keep an eye out possibly for The Plant Paradox. I'll be doing something about that. Let's see, what else do we got? What other questions while I was gone? While I'm waiting for you guys to put some questions in the box. Let's see. Uh, what was it? What else do we get? Uh, let's see. Now, while I'm scrolling through, again, sleep, relaxation, do it. Don't don't put it off. Take the time. Actually relax. Stress is a killer, and I was definitely more stressed than I thought I was, I guess. So, a lot of things. So, let's talk about that a little bit. When it comes to lifestyle changes, diet modification, so whether it be diet modification, nutrition based, exercise, sleep, sun exposure, all of that, it's pretty important to actually try it out and see what happens, because a lot of times you're kind of just coasting through and you don't realize how bad you're messing your body up until you actually eliminate that negative behavior, and then you're like, whoa, I feel amazing. What have I been doing? So that's kind of what happens when I say like super strict. That whole like 30 ideas, whether it be the whole 30 or whether it be just a general reset, quote unquote, uh, a 30-day paleo challenge, all those things, autoimmune things. What that basically does gives your body a chance to see how it can perform and how you do feel over the course of that time. And more often than not, that's how you do it. It's not about dogma. It's not about, no, you can never eat this ever again. It's more that when you eliminate those things, when you reintroduce, you're like, okay, that doesn't feel good. So you end up more often than not making the right choice. Going back to the stress idea, I've been grinding every single day and pushing between clients and school and the videos and everything to the point where I was just crushed, and my body, I was burning the candle on every end, front, back, and center. And basically, my body was just destroyed. I didn't realize it until I went away. And after that week away, came back this morning at 6 a.m., got ready for my client, and I was just killing it with energy. I was beaming all day. So, honestly, take the time. Do it. It's super important. What else we got, guys? Quiet night. Quiet night. Let's see. I have to scroll back through some text messages, I guess. You guys are killing me right now. Let's see. Practice what you preach. Yes, that is an excellent, excellent thought. Boy. Oh, Justin. Okay, here we go. My buddy Justin asked me about neem oil and using it in the garden. And basically, the idea is using it for insecticides, as a fungicide, getting rid of mites, so getting rid of all, both, you know, problematic insects, problematic fungi, so problematic, basically mold and such. So basically, neem oil is a natural herbicide that can work, if you're trying to avoid pesticides, you're trying not to spray glyphosate, which is, Roundup. That's the whole crux behind the GMO controversy, which I promise you the Bill Nye video on GMOs will be coming at some point. I just enjoyed that relaxation too much to finish editing it. That being said, using something like neem oil, using something like peppermint, garlic, it can work. Cayenne's an excellent one. Those eggshells, actually, if you're doing it. So these are just gardening tips, just off the top of my head. What those can help you do, is allow you to actually have a garden that isn't completely pesticide laden and leading to, endocrine disruption. So throwing off your hormones, liver toxicity. So messing up your detoxification pathways. So yeah, something like neem oil would be a great idea. So that's Justin's question there. Okay, Murray, what do you got? You see. How reliable are the stress tests they do at the cardiologist? Are they any good indicator of heart health? Honestly, I haven't I haven't had one of those, and I haven't really looked too much into it. If I had to venture a guess, is it like the treadmill challenge where they put you on the treadmill and they kind of run you through? Give me a little bit of a rundown of what the protocol actually is, Murray. Um, but if that's part of it, kind of, yeah. It's so, we talk about how exercise is a hormetic stressor. It's a good stress, quote unquote. I don't know why I said quote unquote. It is a good stress. The quote unquote really comes down to whether or not you are programming properly. If you're doing weird things where you're overtraining, or you're doing exercises that shouldn't be done repetitively, like say like the CrossFit style where you're doing 400 cleans and in 2 minutes. That's a gross hyperbole, but whatever. Those kind of things where you're programming poorly, what ends up happening is, oh, man down, man down. Let's try that again. Sorry about that. So with that kind of programming, essentially, you're initiating a stress response. So you're basically going to be able to see what's happening. I completely got thrown off with that when I dropped the camera there. Sorry. Let's go back to your question. I'll retrace my brain where it is. So much for being refreshed and recharged, I guess. I think he has a treadmill. They hook up the monitors. Wondering if you knew my dad just did one. Yeah, so if they're doing that, it's kind of like the fancier, quote-unquote, better version of heart rate monitor testing. These are the heart rate variability testing. If they're doing that testing, they're actually hooking you up to the monitors. They should be able to see what kind of sympathetic and parasympathetic response you're getting. Yes, I'm definitely rusty. That's it. That definitely explains it. Try to get what kind of parasympathetic and sympathetic response you're getting, so you basically judge based on the way your heart rate is going. So with those stress tests, because you're hooked up to an EKG most likely, you're able to get a more accurate response because it's higher tech machinery than just a heart rate monitor. So yeah, realistically, you should be able to get some decent results on that. If you really want to look more into it, you can get some salivary cortisol, general inflammation markers. There are some gut markers that can help you out with that as well. Genova/Metametrics, whatever they're calling themselves these days, has some decent testing on that. What else on that? Just life. Basically how you're feeling. And obviously, again, I'm not the best barometer of that because I felt great until I didn't. At least I thought I was feeling great until I felt better, and I'm like, oh, okay. So, yeah, in terms of how accurate, they're pretty accurate, is the short version of that long, rambling nonsense that I just spit out. But most of what I say is nonsense, long, rambling anyway, so whatever. All right, let's get another question going. What else we got? No problem. So Eric Ott shared my video. He said, I don't know if you're on right now, but Eric, thanks, brother. I see that you shared the video. Let's see. What else we got going on? Oh, somebody, who was it? Nicole Cabreros, I think. Cabreros. I can't pronounce names right now. I met her at my best friend Monty's wedding. Cabreros. All right. She had mentioned, okay, that's what it was. So, David Avocado Wolf, which, oh boy, that's just a whole nother story, but he posted a video that she shared to me, the Nakey feet. She tagged me in that last night. That's an interesting one. Essentially, as you all know, I love my Vibrams. I think that barefoot, or minimalist in that case, barefoot ideally is an excellent idea, both for grounding purposes, both for just general gait purposes, for actually strengthening the musculature of your feet and of your calves, and just making sure your posture, everything is on point, you're actually walking, running properly, because when you have thick heels and thick soles, generally you don't have to run properly, so a lot of people don't. When you are in minimalist type attire, in those types of shoes, what ends up happening is you're forced to do it properly. You have to run, otherwise you're gonna hurt yourself. So the Nike feet are these stick-on foot pads, and her question basically came down to whether or not I thought it would be better because you're closer to the earth. And I honestly haven't looked much more into it yet. Looks interesting. It's already weird enough wearing the Vibrams. I'm already that guy. I don't necessarily think I need to slap something under my feet. Because I'd rather just be barefoot completely if I have to be. I'd rather just be barefoot completely. If I have to have some kind of attire on, I'd much rather just be wearing the Vibrams if I have to be in purpose, in real life. So, honestly, if you're going to be going somewhere, if you're on the beach, put your feet on the sand. If you're in the pool, put your feet in the pool. I don't think you really need to be sticking on a piece of rubber onto your foot. But, alrighty, Murray, you have a wonderful rest of your evening. So the Nike feet, it could be cool. I have to look more into it, but yeah, it's whatever. Alright, what other questions we got, guys? Let's see. If you said coming in late, so far we talked about blood pressure, talked about migraines, talked about, talked about stress tests, talked about the Nike feet, Katie, a nootropic for the EDM crowd. Talked about how rusty I am, but the importance of de-stressing and sleep and all that proper stuff. Make sure you actually get that in. What else? Talk about where the hell I've been for the last week and why I haven't been around. What else we got for me, guys? Well, I take a week off and everybody forgets the questions? What's going on? Everybody always had amazing questions. Let's see. Okay, recommended lotion to protect from the sun. Great question, Kim. So, I guess into a little bit of a squirrely neighborhood. For myself, it depends on what kind of skin we're talking about. If you are somebody that is particularly easy to burn, just be careful, be mindful of what you're doing. I wish Maddie were on right now. I'm sure she probably has some kind of product with her lemongrass spa that could probably be good for that. Personally, I use coconut oil exclusively, pre, during, and post. It has a natural SPF of about 7, I want to say. If that's not good enough for you, you can start adding things like carrot oil, and there's some other ones. I'd have to look into some of the other ones with natural SPFs, but basically, you can put together your own suntan lotion, or rather use sunscreen, if you want to call it that, sunblock, and you can put those all together and basically help to protect. You can add up the SPFs and trying to basically get them all together to work synergistically to kind of get to the needs of what you want, what kind of level you want to get it to. But personally, I just go straight with coconut oil. Again, never had any problems with it. I've done it in St. Martin, so Caribbean sun, middle of the day, hours on end. The trick, though, is that you do have to constantly reapply. You don't just put it on once and be like, oh, you're good for the day. No, you have to put it on like 2, 3, 4, if you're out for longer, 5, as many times as needed. So generally, I'd go every like 20 minutes, half an hour, put it on. Honestly, I just gauge it by the sun. So when you have the coconut oil on, when it starts to get to the point where you start to feel overly warm, when your skin itself starts to feel overly warm, that's probably the time to reapply. So if you've been in water, reapply. If you start to feel warm, reapply. And if you're somebody that is more sensitive, what you can always do is you can always test the waters first. So try it on just your arm. If you're somebody that always uses sunscreen, you could always try it on one arm with the sunscreen and on your other arm and everywhere else, with the sunscreen, and then just your arm with the coconut oil the first time and see how you do. And yeah, it might lead to a less even tan, but it is what it is. Try it out. Actually, I've seen the hemp oil being used as well, so that's definitely a possibility. But carrot, probably because of the beta carotene, is likely where they're going with that direction. Antioxidants, so basically anything. Actually, yeah, anything with the antioxidant value probably beneficial. Other things though, make sure you're eating an anti-inflammatory diet. So rich in omega-3s, reductions in omega-6 fatty acids. So omega-3s, of course, are fish, grass-fed, pasture-raised ruminants, so cows, bison, elk, things like that. You're going to want to make sure you're getting pasture-raised eggs, and then from there, reducing vegetable oils, grains, legumes, nuts to an extent, a little bit lesser, but, you know, not as many as the other things. Make sure you're getting in enough omega-3, ideally fish, lots and lots of fish, lots and lots of grass-fed ruminants, minimizing the omega-6s, all the grain-based products, get rid of all that crap, because when you are less inflamed, you're going to have less damage being done from the sun. So, what's happening generally is that's getting oxidized. It's causing the damage, it's causing it under the skin. The UV rays come in and they're oxidizing, causing oxidative stress to your tissue, causing that damage. If you are eating a more anti-inflammatory based diet, should have less inflammation, less damage being done. But either way, coconut oil on the skin, reapplied as necessary, anti-inflammatory diet, bam. That's the takeaway on that one. All right, what else we got, guys? At this point, we are about a 27 minutes in. So, I usually like to run these about half an hour. Sometimes they run to about 40 minutes because of just general questions, but a little bit of a quiet crowd tonight. So, the questions I've been asked are great questions, but overall, just a little more quiet than normal. So, I'll start looking for some more questions. Otherwise, we're packing in at around another 4 or 5 minutes. Unless we get a late surge, because that tends to happen too. For whatever reason, there's this late surge, like half an hour in, like, oh, hey, everybody's here. But while I'm waiting for some more questions, real quick, the deal, guys. If you made it this far, thank you very much. Eddie, what's up, brother? How you doing? So, yeah, if you haven't already, obviously I took the week off last week, but starting again today, yesterday, because I did the best of that I posted up yesterday. Starting again today, we're back to our everyday schedule. So tomorrow I'll be putting up another Ask Mike the Caveman. If you haven't already subscribed over on YouTube, please head on over to youtube.com/Mike the Caveman, which is the YouTube channel. So please, would greatly appreciate that. Other than that, though, I put out those every day. The Bill Nye videos, maybe tomorrow I'll get that one out, depending on how well the editing goes. That one will be on episode 4, which is GMOs. I know I promised it last week, but like we said, I was having too much fun in Arkansas, so that got pushed to the side. Whatever. So, yeah, like I said, if you made it this far, particularly if you're on the replay. If you're watching this on the replay, you made it this far. Awesome. That's great. If you're here on the live stream, like you're live, love you guys too. So thanks for coming on down. I think I'll leave it for one more question right now. I'll give you another minute or so to take a look at that for one more. Otherwise, please head on over, subscribe. Eventually, now that we have the new Mike the Caveman website up, I'll start adding more content to that. But, I was just completely swamped for a little bit. But yeah, so last recap real quick while we're waiting that last minute. We talked today about high blood pressure, talked about what we can do about the stress tests, whether they're accurate or not, migraines, Katie nootropic, talked about sunscreens and suntan lotions, what we can do about that. We talked about a couple other things too, but for whatever reason I lost my questions here. Yeah. I don't know. Well, what do you call it? A little bit rusty after a week off. That's the other end of that. There's a double-edged sword because I was in a rhythm. I was ready to rock for that. Did for that year straight and have my daily videos. Take a week off, and all of a sudden I lose my edge. I'm too good of a mood. But That being said, guys, like I said, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you have, love you. If you haven't already, and you don't, I still probably love you. Alright, guys. Hopefully, I'll see you tomorrow.